Stage 1 is where the groundwork was laid. This is where the curriculum design was developed. This is where information was communicated to parents and teachers in the community. And this is also where professional development began.
Prior to the opening of Hampton, we had a big meeting at another school here on base, and it was, so you think you want to teach at Hampton? And we had about 200 people that came to this meeting. We were all very curious about what Hampton was and what was going on there. I was super excited because I had been at a traditional school, the same school, for 20 years. I was getting a little I was losing my excitement, to be quite honest with you. So this really appealed to me. It was something new, it sounded exciting, and I knew that children could thrive in this type of environment. And I was really excited about it, and that's why I wanted to come to Hampton. Not to say I didn't have reservations, I did, but my excitement outweighed my reservations.
Yes, I was worried about how it was going to be carried out because it was something new, something different, and I think above all it was a challenge, the expectations of the 21st century learning and the building of the skills for the students in the educational environment.
Well, my concerns began with there's no walls, you're not going to have a desk in your classroom or studio, as that's what we call it here at Hampton, and all these new the new terminology was, it was a little scary. All of a sudden we heard neighborhood, hubs, studios, no desk, no walls, the noise level. What was it all going to mean? What was it going to be like? So yeah, it was a little scary at first. It sure was. As I came into Hampton for the first time, we had hard hats on, we took a little tour, and we saw what it meant when we said no walls. It wasn't exactly like that. There are clearly defined areas in all of the neighborhoods. We all share a common learning space, but we all have our own studios. The school was designed with sound panels that absorb the sounds, so when you're in your individual learning studios, yes, you can hear a little something now and then, but it's not anything that is so distractive that, productive learning is not going on for all of us. So it probably bothered me more at first, but the children, when they come in, it's like nothing to them.
When I first met the team I was going to be working with in our Wednesday meetings, I'm a pretty open-minded person. I did want to be with the friends that I knew were coming over to Hampton, but to meet some new people was very interesting, and I do sit back a lot, so I sat back and sort of took them in and learned about them and learned what they were strong at and what I was strong at, and to see if we would meld. And it seemed like I feel like we were intentionally put together, so I was excited about that.
That idea of open classroom, I had a history with that from years ago when I first started teaching, so it was not a positive thing at that time. So this was really scary to me because I thought, what are we going to do with all the noise that we're going to hear, and how are we going to maintain that teaching environment with that much noise? But it's not at all that, and it's just amazing how well the students have adapted to it. So I think that was my biggest concern, is the noise level and giving up my space. And I realized that I didn't have to worry about the noise outside of my studio because my students were focused on me and what we were doing within the studio. When we move into the neighborhoods to do a neighborhood activity, we move into the hub, they're still focused, and we've established the procedures for moving into the neighborhood hub so that we don't have kids running from all directions and converging on that spot that where we're meeting. So it is very organized, and it takes time to get it that way and practice, but it came together, and now you don't even hear the noise from the other studios. It's just something that it's like elevator music. You don't really pay any attention to it.
When I first met the teachers that I am collaborating with in my current neighborhood, I knew two of the teachers, had not worked with them professionally, but I knew two of them from previous schools. And the teacher that I'm co-teaching with, I had never met before, had never seen her before. So I was really concerned that our personalities wouldn't mesh well together and that we would kind of bump heads and not have a good relationship. But that was quickly eased once we started talking more, and I realized that our differences really made us stronger together as a team.
Stage 2, the summer before the school opened in August, was a time where all of the furniture in each of the neighborhoods was laid out, and this was done before the teachers arrived in the school in August, so this was one less thing on their plate. Additionally, in-depth professional development occurred with teachers during the summer, and then also 2 early return days right before school began.
Coming into our shared learning studio and neighborhood space, as a teacher, when I packed up at the end of the school year before coming to Hampton, I left everything at home, and I just wanted to gradually bring in what I needed to respect the space that I was sharing with other teachers, to ensure that I wasn't taking over the space, and also being that I was co-teaching with another teacher. I just wanted to make sure that I respected the boundaries, and ensuring that with the curriculum that we're sharing, that we all had some input in where things were going, how we were using the tools and curriculum.
I think the thing I remember most about those first 2 days is walking into the building and seeing the finished product, because we had been in earlier with the hard hats and was under construction, and you had somewhat of an idea of what it was going to look like, but it was so much more than what we expected when we walked in. I mean, the open spaces and the colors and how child-friendly the building was. And then to walk into my studio the first day and everything's set up, everything is in place, to know that I don't have to worry about that. I didn't have to worry about that. It was awesome. And then also everything was new. Everything was, and we had so many materials to work with within our studios, within our neighborhoods. And I think coming in and working with those other professionals that I had only met the spring before, getting to know them more and sharing ideas about how we could set up our individual studios, but also how we could set up our neighborhood so that it was a learning community. It was not just a collection of classrooms, it was a learning community. And that meant a lot to us, and it helped us to be prepared for that first day when the kids came in, and we were at home, so we could make it feel like home to them.
Students were, for me, the alignment piece for the school, being able to align the standards for CCRSM and our standards for DODEA with their goals and objectives, and being able to make all of that fit together and still meet their educational needs and their goals.
Letting go of that idea of my space. This was no longer my area, this was our area. And realizing that the materials that we had were the materials that we all were using. It's not just the things that I had in my studio, but how could we use these to impact the learning in the entire neighborhood, not just in my studio. So, getting to understand, helping each other understand where do we need these things so that it's a common area where any of us can pull them whenever we need them. So that it was a new way of thinking, but also a new way of sharing those materials with the people that I was just getting to know.
I learned dynamics because the teachers were coming from different places, and having past experience working with curriculum, it was really hard for me not to put all of my ideas out front. And so I had to take a back seat and to really allow them to work through the problems and the kinks together and to see how it all played out and them answering their own questions.
I am a little bit of a control freak. So to know that I had to trust, at least even in my neighborhood, 3 other teachers was difficult, but then to trust grade level wide, between 6 and 9 teachers, to be able to trust that they were going to do their part when I'm used to just doing my part all the time was very difficult. It's worked out, and I've learned that I can let some of it go, but it's still hard for me even now to give up that control to other people.
I like that Victoria said that she had to trust the other teachers that they made good choices for that grade level, for the second grade level, because she wasn't able to be there, and that was our concern. Doing the alignment of the curriculum, we wanted to make sure that everyone felt comfortable with it and everyone had a voice in it, and those that didn't have a voice really appreciated what we did.
Stage 3 encompasses the first 6 weeks of school. This is a time when teachers are moving in, getting used to their surroundings, figuring out how to navigate the school, further developing the relationships with their colleagues, and implementing their first 3-week unit, which focused on procedures and routines in each of their studios and also in their neighborhoods.
My goal was to make sure that I was on the same page with the general education classroom. That way when they went back into their classroom, it was an easy transition for them. They wouldn't have that mentality of not knowing what I'm going to be doing if my class is already participating in it.
Having a teacher planning area has its pros and its cons. I at first was okay with it. I thought it was a great idea. We were constantly collaborating. I'm still great with it, but at first my biggest struggle was there was always noise. Somebody was always talking, somebody was always planning, which is a good thing, except for sometimes you need your own time to talk to parents on the phone or grade papers. So we've learned to move to other spaces, whether it be in our studios or in the one-on-one room or the small group room.
Working in there with the other teachers, we use it just as that, a collaborative space. If someone needs quiet space, they put their headphones on or go to another area in our learning studio or in the hub area, and they can work quietly there. But when we're in the collaboration space, we all have the understanding now that that's where we collaborate. We talk to each other. If we need to have privacy, we either put our headphones on and work on our computers there, or if we need to talk to parents, we go to a one-on-one room within our neighborhood or in a quiet space in our learning studio.
Stage 4 pulls in the entire first year, and this is where CSI efforts were able to grow organically within the school. Professional development was able to be responsive throughout the school year, and teachers were able to become accustomed to what facilitated collaboration looked like and felt like, and see the benefits of that time together.
Well, during the first year here at Hampton, I would say that I met my expectations. I was excited about coming to Hampton, but I was very nervous as well. I had been at the same school for 20 years. I was the only teacher on my grade level for most of those years. I honestly had not learned how to collaborate, and so I knew that was a big part of it. 21st century learning and teaching, that is what we do here. We collaborate. So I was nervous about it. I came in, I worked very closely with 3 other teachers in my neighborhood. We share that collaboration area. Our desks are all in there. It was a little scary because traditionally teachers are very territorial. These are my kids, this is my desk, this is my stuff. And so I had to learn, as well as my students, that we all collaborate, we all work together for our goal. And I found that I can collaborate. I don't have to fly solo. And it was the best learning experience for me as an educator and also just as a person.
I think I had to get used to working with another teacher, being able to work collaboratively with another teacher, because I was so used to always being in my own classroom. It was all my, the I mentality, but I had to come up with the we mentality, and I had to make it about my students, and I had to get a common trust, a common ground with my coworkers in order to be able to collaborate effectively for the students.
I think my aha has been all that stuff that I collected for 30 plus years, I don't need it. I just need a good strong team and kids that are ready to learn, and the facility and the materials that I have, because all that stuff that I have packed up at home is still packed up at home. I don't need it.
And we just bring a little bit in at a time if we need it, and then we take it back. Right. But like you said, we didn't need it. I took 3 truckloads home, literally, of stuff, and hardly any of it came with me to Hampton.
One of the main challenges that I faced was helping teachers understand that we wouldn't have it all correct right away. Those obstacles were there, it was real, and we had to face it and work through it together. It wasn't something that we can say, oh, I'm just not going to work with this particular person, or I'm not going to address this problem. As a team, we had to find a way to come up with either a solution or come up with a way that we can come to some type of consensus to work through it. Not every day was a happy day, not every day was a challenging day, but the good part about it is that we made it through and we did what was best for students.
One of my ahas during the first year was that my co-teacher and I were not just placed together, it was a strategic plan. Those who placed us together, we didn't fill out a personality profile, but I think they knew our personalities, and they knew that she was very much out of the box, and she would help me come out of my box and stand on top of it and do great things. So I really appreciate it. It felt like having that college roommate that was selected for you, and our personalities have just meshed very well. We still have a lot of give and take, that we respect each other's opinions. We agree to disagree at times, and it works very well for us. And during our project-based learning, we plan together, sometimes by text, by phone calls, by emails, however we can get to each other inside and outside of school, so that we can ensure that our projects are well planned and our students are on task and learning.
I think my biggest aha moment was the amount of collaboration that goes on. It is constant, even if it's not, it may not be like a set time for collaboration, but it's happening. It's happening when we're sitting at our computers. If we're doing our own personal work, somehow something will come up and we'll start planning. Walking around the hallways, meeting with specialists, suddenly we're planning. We're always collaborating. We're always talking about the different things that are going on in our classroom and how can other people come in and help us? How can we help other people? It's almost exhausting how much collaboration goes on because it's just going on all the time. But like Facebook Messenger, Schoology, is that how you say it? Schoology, Google Docs. We are collaborating technologically, personally, on the phone. So it just doesn't stop, which is a good thing for the kids.
Stage 5 is a time where teachers are experiencing the impact of the layered efforts of 21st century teaching, learning, and leading, project-based learning, and now the implementation of the college and career ready standards for mathematics. The collaboration time that they have and the professional development that they continue to receive are critical supports for the success of these layered efforts.
Implementation of the new college and career ready standards in mathematics has been very easy because we had already established so many of those SMPs within our 21st century learning. The problem solving, the collaboration, the team building, the persevering and sticking with the problem, those are all things that we taught our students last year through PBL. So this has made it very easy to implement the CCR-SM standards. Certainly the training that we've received through from the district has been very beneficial. The permission to breathe and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes has been awesome because we all do that when we're learning something new. But also knowing that there are resources that we can go to, human resources that we can get a real answer from. It's not just researching it and trying to find the best answer for ourselves. We're all learning together. We're learning at the same time. So it's all a new process. But I think that the biggest thing is just our children already understand the terminology. They already understand the concept of problem solving and collaboration. So it's just made it so much easier to bring in those new standards and those new skills and implement them not only in our own studios but in the neighborhood as well.
As we plan PBL during collaboration time, we take a look at the SMPs too and see how they fit in with 21st century teaching and learning standards. And we have found that a lot of them align really easily. The district has helped us, Fort Bragg Schools has helped us to do that as well. They supported us with that. Our staff development coach has supported us with that. Our administration has supported us with that. So we continue, and we do that almost every collaboration. We look at the SMPs and how do they go along with what we're teaching during PBL, and then we integrate it during the lessons.
Throughout the day, throughout our learning day, we look at the SMPs and the 21st century learning outcomes, and we marry those two together to ensure that the students are getting those skills in the interrelated centers in the morning as well as the integrated centers in the afternoon. So we marry those together to ensure that our driving question focuses on those skills and that we're able to teach those together.
I think if teachers are interested in coming to a 21st century school such as Hampton, they just have to be open to change and forget that it's I. You need to forget the word I. It's we. It's a we approach.
This has been one of the best experiences out of my entire 14 years of teaching. It's a different way of learning, and it's all about the student because we are in an environment now, things are changing. It's not our traditional way of teaching anymore, but it gives the students a broad opportunity of seeing what else is available to them.
It is all about the team and what's best for students, which as educators that should be our top priority anyway, but especially in a setting like this because we are working together as a team to do what's best for students.
Need to come in with an open mind, willing to collaborate with others, just coming in with an open mind and ready to share ideas and to accept things that they can't change and things that they may be able to change to make better.
Teachers that are coming in to a school like this, as Amina said, open-mindedness is very important, but also the ability to change and to be flexible, because this is a very different environment. This is your first time doing it. Things are going to change as you learn new things. Other people are going to influence your learning and your teaching, so accept those and move with those and use those.